Hey there, out there in spray wash land. Hey, I want to talk a little bit today about, excuse me, how do you measure a roof? And I'm going to tell you right now that I'm using two monitors that I'm not used to, and I'm also using a different system that I'm not used to. So we're going to see how this all works out for me today, right? My monitor's over there, though my finger looks like it's pointing. It's there to my eyes, so you'll see me look. Anyhow, let me get on to that, right? I want to talk to you today about how to measure a roof using Google or maybe even using your county assessor's website. So let's talk about that a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and share this other screen here. I'm going to do it that way, this way. All right, there we go. All right, so one of the things that you can do, you type in your address, and I chose a random address, right? So the address here is 2430 Oak Manor Court. I literally just zoomed in, I picked an address, didn't care what it was, right? So this is 2430 Oak Manor Court. I typed it into a Google search. I can come down and I can click right here in the field, right? There's all kinds of things here on the house. So I can choose different things. But if I click right here, it's going to tell me, it's going to bring up the whole image of it. Now, all I'm looking at is a map, but not the satellite side of it. I can come down here and I can click on satellite. If I click on satellite, it's going to bring up the entire aerial image of it. So now I'm going to zoom in. See, this is the other thing with Mac. I'm trying to zoom in how I would zoom in with a PC, and it goes the wrong direction. So I'm going to zoom in, okay? Now I can really see the house from here. It's going to make it easier for me to measure. As I measure around, this thing is going to get in my way. And so I can go up here and I can click on this X, and it's going to remove that address for me. Now I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. Now, in order to measure this, I got to keep a couple things in mind. There's different angles, different roof angles, different pitches here, and we're going to get into that here in a second. But to start with, I'm gonna choose a corner. I'm gonna choose this corner right here, and I'm gonna right click on that, and it's gonna bring up the measuring tool. It gives me, I can do directions, what's here, search nearby. I can print this out. Okay, if you're business, you can add your business. Okay, but I'm gonna click on measure distance. Now here, I'm just gonna follow it down, and I'm gonna click on the different points all the way around the house. Okay. One thing to remember is that Google Maps and Google Earth bring up two different, your angles are slightly different, and your measurements can be slightly off on both. And I'm also going to go over using we call them parishes in Louisiana. I'm going to go over assessors' websites. But here we can go through it. We can click on all these different points right here. And this is going to give us the square footage around the house. And here I'm actually going to skip over this little section. So I know from here, going around and clicking on all these spots, I'm going to come back and I'm going to click on this very last one. When I click on this very last one, it's going to bring up this total distance here. So like, let's say, for example, this house has rain gutters. If this house has rain gutters, then I'm measuring the lineal foot of the rain gutters as well. So this is going to tell me I have about 336 lineal feet. I'm usually going to go either 335 or I'm going to go 340. I'm not going to do 336, but it's also telling me that my square footage here, my total area is just over 4,000 square feet. But that is only the area around the house. That is not giving me my square footage of the roof. So how am I going to figure that out? Well, first of all, let me come back over. I'm gonna clear out my measurements. I'm going to make a little note here for myself. We're dealing with about 4,000 square feet of roof space, right? I can fine tune. I can say that that's 4,050 square feet. I can do whatever I want, right? Now I'm going to move over here. All I got to do is grab this little guy right here. I'm going to grab him and I'm going to drop him right in front of the house. When I drop him right in front of the house, now I can look at the roof itself. I can see the pitch of the roof. Let's say, for example, I really don't know how to tell is this a 1 on 12? Is this a 50 on 12? What is this? I don't know. How do I figure that out? I'm going to share that with you here in a minute. The other thing is, as I look around, I can see that there are multiple pitches on this roof, okay? You have one angle here that's got one pitch. You've got, this is going to be a different pitch. This is going to be a different pitch. And then this is a taller roof than this is. So you can separate, you can measure the carport area out by itself, and then you can measure the roof, the main roof out by itself. If you want to do all that, it depends on how detailed you want to get. Plus there are programs out there that'll, like I said, measure it out for you, $10 a piece or whatever. I think that's kind of a waste. If it was a big detailed job, I might want to do that. But how do I figure out, now that I know, I'm kind of looking at these, what's the pitch? How do I figure that factor? Okay, so what I did was I went in and I did another Google search. I searched for roof pitch calculator. And then I searched by images. Okay, so if I do an all, if I just type in roof pitch calculator, this is what it brings up. But I can go to images, and now I've got different images that I can choose from, right? I like this one right here to help you understand the pitch of the roof, okay? So here, the pitch of the roof, I can look at this. This is a 1 on 12, 2 on 12, 3 on 12, 7 on 12, 11 on 12, 12 on 12. I can measure that, or I can now look at this image, and then I can go back to the image of the house itself, and I can start putting those together. So I can figure out what my pitch factors are. So I went over to this one here. I can see that if I'm saying that everything together combined is maybe a 6 on 12 or a 7 on 12, I can take it times 1.205. So what I'm doing is I'm taking that 4,000 in the average of all of it, and then I'm going to pick a pitch factor for it. Or again, I can separate them all out. That's what's going to give me the square footage of the roof, because remember, it's giving me a flat version, but the roof is at an angle. So it's measuring out this way, but I got to take all that extra space into account. It's pretty accurate, I'm going to tell you. Now let's go ahead and let's go over to the county assessor. So we call them parishes in Louisiana. I'm going to type in, this is my county assessor's website. I'm going to go to the digital maps section, and it's always going to ask me to agree to their terms of service and all this kind of stuff. If I know where the house is, I can zoom directly into it, or I can go to a search. Now I can search by the owner's name, or I can search by the street address. And we said that the street name or the street address, get that out of there. I don't want all of them. We're going to say that, hey, we're going street address. We're going to go 2430, 2430, and then the street name we're going to do as, I don't even have to do it. Let me do it this way. I'm going to search 2430. This one here comes up where everything to me is on the left-hand side, and I can scroll through all of them down here, and I can find 2430 Oak Manor. Here it is. So I can click on this, and it's going to zoom it in for me. And now I can zoom in a little bit closer, right? And now I've got measuring tools, and I can get rid of these different layers. I've got different layers that I can do here. I can do the streets. Let me close this. Boundaries, features, data, all kinds of stuff. Aerial imagery. I can choose what year. So I've got the 2020 here that I'm doing. I want to get rid of these features here. And so now I can go to most of these, they'll have this measuring tool. I can do lineal foot. If I do the lineal foot right here, I can measure. Let's say I want to measure from here to here. So now I know that I have a 4 foot, that the width of this sidewalk is 4 foot. So I can measure that. I'm going to come back up here. I'm going to redo this. Now I can measure my sidewalk. I already know it's 4 feet. Okay, so I'm going to go here to here. Now, what I can do, this is this Mac thing here. Let's see if I can do this right again. I'm going to click, and I'm going to go halfway down this sidewalk, and I'm going to come back up, right? Halfway, because that way, if I'm coming back, it's giving me everything I need. Let me see if I can zoom out just a little bit. This thing is really touchy, so it's a little bit hard to get used to for me. And again, now I can measure to, quit moving on me. There, I can go halfway up this sidewalk, back down, and now I know that this sidewalk is 188 feet, and then I take that 180 times or 185 times 4, gives me that measurement. Let me try to zoom back in here. This Mac is hard to deal with here. All right, let me go back to the square footages here. Because again, now I can go and same thing. The one thing I like about the GIS systems, which are these county systems, sorry, I'm having a hard time with this Mac zooming in and out on me. As I move around, what it's doing is it's coloring in my area. So I can do these different sections if I want. So I can measure just this, and I can see it's about a 780 square foot garage. I can still keep continuing around. I'm going to clear that measurement out and do another measurement. So again, I can go and I can click on every angle. This is frustrating with it moving on me like this. Sorry, guys. And I'm going to measure every angle. And if you notice, like this imagery is slightly different than the last one, because depending on what program or what mapping system they were using, the last one was a Google image. And a lot of these GIS mapping systems use a Bing mapping system, a Microsoft mapping system. Well, the difference there really is the time of year that they actually take their satellite images. So as you can see, this is probably more towards the fall, and Google is really the best, where it keeps up the best. You see what I mean? So here again, 3,808 square feet. It's not the same as the 4,000 I came out with before, but slightly, because number one, I kept zooming in and out because I'm using a Mac that I'm not familiar with. My bad. But this is just one of those ways now of measuring those different areas. And again, I can measure my rain gutters. I can measure my sidewalks. I can measure my roof. And now I take my pitch factor into it. I can measure my driveways. I can pretty much measure everything I need. And since I'm here and I'm on this subject, let me just go this route. I can clear all this off. I can go to identify. I can do this either, this is just one of the ways that you can, this is a little tip, a little trick that you can do to help get you a little bit more business. If you're kind of like, this isn't where I was going this morning, but I'm going to go there. How do I get more business? I can look at an aerial map right here, and I can see how nasty these roofs are. But how do I contact these people? Well, if I come into the Google mapping system and I click on identify right here, right, I can say, I want to know how nasty, or not this one right here. So I can zoom in, and it's going to tell me this is owned by John Frank Greco, assuming that it hasn't sold recently. And it's going to give me the actual physical address. I can measure it up, and I can snail mail him a quote. Just a little tip, little trick, little tidbit there. So there you go. Anyhow, that's kind of what I wanted to share with you today. Just a little bit about how to measure. If you don't know how to measure a roof, this is one of those ways that you can get it. Again, there are programs out there that you can use. There's also if you're physically on, let me do this. There is an app that you can get. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go pitch gauge app. Let's see. Okay, so here, there's an app that you can get on your phone. I don't know where my phone is. I don't know if I have it on my phone. I think I had it on my phone. Yes, pitch gauge. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you guys this. Can you see that pitch gauge? All right. So pitch gauge, what pitch gauge will do for me is, let me bring it back here. So pitch gauge, you can put this on your phone. Let me come back and go to, give me 1 second. All right. So pitch gauge, this is how it comes up on my phone. So I can take this and I can line it up with the pitch of the roof, and it's going to tell me what the pitch is. Okay. So that's a good app to use. If you're out physically doing estimates, you can go out and you can just line this up with the roof, the angle of the roof, and it'll tell you what your pitch is. And you can also, there's on here, I don't know if you see it, it says camera. So I can switch to the camera view, and I can line this line up with the pitch of the roof, And then I can do what's called a snap, and I can take a picture of it. And this will give me, I can line that directly up with the pitch of the roof with my bald head, hit the snap, and I'm good to go. So just a couple things that I wanted to share with you all today, taking a look at measuring the roof. Let me go over and see if there's any questions or comments or anything I need to address. Mr. J, good morning, sir. Truth Seeker. And so you got to remember on these, if you have a setting on your Facebook page, I guess there's some setting you can do. It shows up to me on this end as Facebook user. It doesn't show me who it is that's saying something while I'm in this program. But anyhow, Truth Seeker says, I've been waiting for a video like this for a long time. Look, if there's something you guys want us to cover, need us to cover, feel free to reach out to either Ray or myself or Tanya, and we'll do our best to make sure that we get things for you, especially for the pro members. We do a lot of stuff for the pro members. If you guys need anything, you feel like, hey, this is something that would be really beneficial to me, reach out to us, give us that information so that we can do it. I've got a Facebook user saying, what up, fellas? Don't know who it is. Another one says, wow, giving away all the secrets. Yeah, giving away some of them. You know, some of them we got to keep, but, you know, there you go. Miss Brenda Farley, one of my faves, actually named something after her. So we do this taping thing where we tape off electrical receptacles, and I taught Brenda how to do it, and then she came up with a better way to do it. She came up with a better way. Hey, you know, we all learn from each other. So now the little thing that we put up underneath the piece of tape is called a Farley. Anyhow, you can do that with a picture of the roof to get the pitch. Yes, that's the pitch gauge thing that I was showing as well. With the goal of being to arrive at an efficient roof cleaning quote, why not just multiply the square footage of the home by the standard multiplier, say 35 cents a square foot? Yes, I mean, that's the point of the whole point of this, Jeff, is to try to figure out what the square footage of the roof is. So, and then you take it times whatever your factor is for your roof cleaning. Like when with my old company, when we were doing the roof, we measured it, we got the square footage, and then we took it times a certain dollar amount, and that's how we came up with the actual price of what we were charging for it. Measure Maps works really well also and can be used on an iPad or iPhone. Gino, very correct. So Measure Map is another system that you can use. There used to be another one called Find Lot Size. They charge now. There are several different ones out there to choose from, and you can find the one that works best for you. Mr. Nathan, morning, sir. What is snail mail? He says. Okay, I got to stick that one up there. What is snail mail? So snail mail is very simply using the U.S. Postal Service. All right, that's funny. I guess maybe younger guys. Nathan's a little bit younger. But anyhow, snail mail is putting a stamp on it and sticking it in the mail to somebody. That's just it's kind of a way of it's an unsolicited proposal, basically. You measure it all up, you figure out what you're going to charge them, you take a picture of their house right there from Google, and you can put it in there, and then you physically mail it to them. Josh says, thank you, Dougie. Hey, you're very welcome, man. Nice app. I didn't know about that. Let's see. I always use Google Earth to measure. Google Earth, the one thing I don't like about Google Earth is it throws things off a little bit. Like the one that I was using here, that was Google Earth, and your pins can be offset too far. So I don't personally like Google Earth. I prefer just Google itself, a Google search. But even like Gino said, there's other programs out there that you can use. Let's see. Let's see. Brenda, again, a picture on the screen, laptop. Same thing, I guess. And then somebody says, use the pitch app for point at laptop. Okay, that's Miss Brenda. And then somebody says, what do you charge when you have lots of debris to remove before actually doing the chemical application? You estimate a time it takes. And I don't know who put that up there. It just, again, it shows me as a Facebook user. It's not telling me who's asking that question. Look, pricing is one of those things that you have to look at your area. If I gave you what my price was, it doesn't necessarily matter, because I'm out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. What area are you in? Things are different. You got to kind of figure out your time that it's going to take to do that. So, I mean, for me, I want to be a bare minimum of somewhere between $100 and $200 an hour in what I'm charging for a guy to be there doing that. So you just got to figure out about what it's going to take. If it's a really steep roof, I'm going to be charging a lot more because you're not going to necessarily be able to walk on it. If you're going to get that out the valleys, you're going to have to put a ladder up and drag that stuff out. If it's a low slope and you're going to walk it with a blower, it might take you 10 minutes, So you have to decide. Sometimes we would charge, sometimes we wouldn't. I think that pretty much covered it. I'm sorry if I'm missing somebody in here. This one's a little bit hard to scroll through. Again, it's showing me Facebook users instead of not on all of them. Some of them it's showing me who it is, but other ones it's showing me that. So, hey, I appreciate y'all for listening to me this morning. I just wanted to come out and show y'all a little bit of one of the ways to, and as Gino said, there's many different ways to measure out there, a lot of different ways to get it done. But I'm not a big excuses guy, and sometimes people say, "Oh, I don't know how to do it. I don't know what to do." Man, especially for you guys in the wintertime when you don't have, like right now, there's snow falling, whatever, you can't work. And look, you can work. You can do things like this where you can go in and you can start measuring. You can start looking at jobs. You can, and then snail mail. You can. There are lots of things you can do. It's up to you whether or not you want to do them. That's the only thing. So, Wild West says, "I'm lucky here. Built houses for 13 years, so I can just look at a pitch and know this." Yeah, that's the same thing with me. I mean, I can look at things. I can pretty much figure them out pretty quick because I've been around it for so long. But anyhow, and then okay, I gotta show this one. There you go. Wow, this is Dale Johnson. You got me blocked, Dougie. Lots of luck. No, I wouldn't have you blocked. And actually, I'm not sure how this is coming through because it's coming through from our YouTube channel, but it's also on Facebook. And I actually think I might be using Ray's Facebook. I don't know. He set it up, so I don't know. I don't know where we're at. But anyhow, and then yes, Nathan. Look, young guys don't know the ignorance of, hey, snail mail. That's where you use snail mail because it takes so long to get to them. That's the U.S. Postal Service for you. But anyhow, hey, that's it. I appreciate y'all. And again, if there's anything you guys want us to cover, give myself a holler, Ray a holler, Tanya a holler, and we'll see what we can do for you to get you taken care of because this is about sharing and caring and all that kind of fun, happy stuff in this pandemic we got going on. I appreciate y'all and peace out.